The first time I saw the light-eyed man, I was 9 years old, and I thought he was just a drunk stumbling home from the bar at the end of our street. It was a Tuesday in late October, and the air smelled like wet leaves and wood smoke from someone's fireplace. I was supposed to be asleep, but I'd snuck to my bedroom window to watch the fog roll in off the lake. That's when I saw him standing at the base of the telephone pole across the street. He wasn't moving like a drunk. Drunks weave and stagger. This man was perfectly still, tilting his head back to look up at the wires. When he turned, I saw his face, and the thing I will never forget is that it wasn't his eyes that reflected the streetlight. It was the light itself, shining from them like two cold white headlights buried in his skull. I screamed for my mother. By the time she got to the window, he was gone. She told me it was just the neighbor's cat, that I'd had a bad dream. But I saw her lock the front door twice that night, and she didn't turn the porch light off until dawn. For 23 years, I forgot about him. I grew up, moved to the city, got a job as a data analyst for a regional insurance company in Ohio. My life became a pleasant, gray routine of spreadsheets, meal prep, and Netflix. I didn't believe in monsters anymore. I believed in 401, KS, and quarterly reports. It all came back in a single email, subject line: Municipal Lighting Data Anomaly Report. I was running an audit for a small township called Ravens Hollow, about 300 miles north of where I grew up. Standard stuff, checking for energy theft, bad meters, infrastructure failures, but the data was wrong. From January 2019 to present, the streetlights on a single road, Maplewood Drive, showed a consistent, inexplicable 17% drop in ambient light readings. Not a malfunction. The lights were still on. The sensors just recorded that less light was reaching the ground, as if something was standing between the bulbs and the pavement every single night, absorbing it. I flagged it as a sensor calibration issue and moved on. Then I saw the maintenance logs. Over the same period, the town had replaced the bulbs on Maplewood Drive 12 times. Every 3 months, without fail, the filaments would be found fused and black, burned out from the inside. When I cross-referenced the dates, every single replacement corresponded with a local police report. Nothing major: missing cats, reports of a suspicious person, a single case of a woman who claimed someone had been looking in her second-story window. She told the responding officer the man had no normal eyes. I felt cold, like someone had poured a glass of ice water down my spine. My hands were actually shaking as I pulled up a map of Ravens Hollow. Maplewood Drive was a residential street. Dead end, cul-de-sac on either side, a perfect, quiet suburban loop. I did something incredibly stupid. I called the town's non-emergency line, pretending to be a distant relative trying to locate someone. The dispatcher was chatty, bored. "Oh, Maplewood, that's the street everyone's been trying to sell on. Weird stuff. People keep saying they see a man walking the power lines at night. Not on the ground, the wires. Kids started calling him the Wire Walker." I hung up. The Wire Walker. I Googled it. There were 3 blog posts from local paranormal forums, all written by the same username, Raven Hollow Watcher. The posts described a man with battery acid eyes who would stand under streetlights until they burned out. The last post was from 6 months ago. It simply said, "He knows I'm watching him. I saw him standing in my backyard. He didn't walk away. He just raised his hand and the streetlight above the garage exploded. I'm leaving. Don't look for him." That was the last post. I should have closed the file. I should have gone to HR, claimed stress, taken a week off. Instead, I booked a hotel room in Ravens Hollow for the following Saturday. I told myself it was for the audit. I needed to verify the physical equipment. That was a lie. I needed to know if the thing from my childhood window was real. The town was exactly what you'd picture. A single main street with a diner, a hardware store, and a closed-down movie theater. Maplewood Drive was a quiet loop of mid-century ranch houses, most with "for sale" signs in the yards. I parked my rental car at the entrance to the street as dusk settled in. The streetlights were already flickering on, casting that sickly orange glow. I didn't see anything for the first 2 hours. I just sat there, engine off, windows cracked, listening to the crickets. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass and something else. A faint, acrid tang, like ozone after a lightning strike. I was about to call it a night, to admit I was a fool chasing childhood shadows, when I saw the first light go out. Not a flicker, not a pop, it just dimmed like someone was turning a dial. The light on the pole at the end of the cul-de-sac shrank to a tiny orange pinprick, then died. The next one did the same 3 seconds later. Then the next. A wave of darkness rolling toward me. I couldn't move. I was frozen, my hand on the ignition key, my heart hammering so loud I couldn't hear the crickets anymore. The last light on the street, the one right above my car, flickered once. And then I saw him standing behind the pole as if he'd been hiding behind it the whole time. He was tall, too tall. His limbs were long, his posture bent at an unnatural angle like a praying mantis. He wore a dark, workmanlike jacket, but it was the eyes that got me. They weren't just bright, they were wrong. A white so pure and cold it looked like broken porcelain, with no iris, no pupil, just two flat, glowing discs. He tilted his head, and I swear I heard the joints in his neck pop like cracking knuckles. He took one step toward my car. I finally unlocked my muscles. I turned the key. The engine screamed to life. I floored it, tires squealing as I tore out of Maplewood Drive. I didn't stop until I was back on the highway, shaking, crying, the smell of ozone thick in my nostrils. I drove straight home to my apartment in Ohio. I didn't sleep. I emailed my resignation the next morning. I pulled the blinds. I covered my webcam. I told myself I was safe. I was miles away. It was just a local legend, a weird coincidence. That was 3 weeks ago. Last night at 2:47 a.m., I woke up to a sound. A low, humming vibration, not from my phone, from the walls. I crept to my living room and I saw it. The streetlight outside my apartment window was dimming. The light was shrinking, turning into that tiny orange pinhole, and underneath it, standing on the grass strip between the sidewalk and the road, was the light-eyed man. He was looking up, at my window, at me. He didn't move. He didn't blink. He just stood there, his head tilted, those twin white headlights burning a hole in the glass. And then, very slowly, he raised his right hand and pointed at me. My phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. No location data, just a single line of text. "You are on the grid now." The streetlight above my building went dark. The emergency exit lights in the hallway died. The hum in the walls grew louder, a deep, bassy drone I could feel in my teeth. I am writing this by the light of my laptop screen. The battery is at 12%, and I just realized the sound isn't coming from the walls anymore. It's coming from the hallway, from right outside my door, and the peephole is getting warm.